way, in an official way. So I think that Lynn Gravatt is a trailblazer who fuses cutting-edge science with profound spirituality to ignite transformation in leaders and organizations. And when I say leaders, any one of us can be a leader in certain, industry or place, as we were hearing also one of our participants, Ellen, right? So Lynn has a decade of engineering excellence at NASA and Boeing. Yes, don't be surprised, because she has redefined what it means to lead with both precision and purpose in the beginning, and she continues to do it so. As the founder of the Purpose Embodiment Method, which I heard before, but I didn't know that Lynn was one of its, founders as well. She guides scientifically minded, heart-centered leaders to unlock clarity, align with their authentic selves, and elevate their impact in the corporate world and ours, because I've spoken to Lynn and I know that's possible. But Lynn's journey goes far beyond boardrooms and blueprints, because she's a Kundalini Reiki master as well, a seasoned explorer of spiritual disciplines and the powerhouse of personal evolution, immersing herself in silent retreats, sacred rituals, and intensive self-discovery across the globe. If we have time, I would like Lynn to tell about the silent retreat part. And beyond her transformational coaching, Lynn's creative spark shines through as a somatic movement specialist, fire spinner, yes, and former contestant on So You Think You Can Dance. And we have danced a lot with Lynn, and I know now that she can actually dance. I'm just joking, but not joking, she can dance, and you can see it yourself by typing her name and surname and finding her dancing. Sorry to be a spoiler.
Did you watch that video?
Yes, I love that. Oh my God, you were really hitting the stage, and I could see that the judges wanted to say yes, absolutely, but they couldn't because you were out of the format. You were far in ahead of the time and everything. You were just in the universe. They were just back thousands of years. So I know now that you, whether on stage or in the boardroom, you embody the art of blending play, passion, purpose, science, everything that we, so mind, body, soul, and heart. That's, I know for sure now, because we've been in contact for already a long time enough. And please, everyone who is here and later who is watching us by our recording, get ready to meet a leader who inspires change, challenges norms, and equips you and will equip you to step into your highest potential, to your highest selves. Lynn is not just a coach, she's a catalyst for reinvention. In fact, you don't like being called only a coach, right? So you can take from there and present yourself, filling in with the information you feel necessary.
Thank you. And Tasha, I just want to acknowledge you for coming in the room. Thank you so much for being here. And if you want to drop in your chat in the chat where you're coming from and even your background, we were talking to Alan before you came in the room about VR. So I'm having a little frame of reference for his background. I know my background, and then I'll know your background. But first, we're just going to start. This is Embody Your Purpose, 3 Steps to Mindful Living for Long-Term Success. And when I'm talking about success, a lot of everyone watching this and here in the room already has attained certain levels of success. So I'm trying to appeal more to what this inner success feels like. What does it feel like to live on a planet that feels like we're earthing well? And so I'm thinking a little bit more long-term, big picture. And so I'm going to just spotlight myself and start with my little origin story. Then we're going to go into, I'm going to talk a little bit about mind, a little bit about body, a little bit about spirit. And we're going to have some experiential. We'll have 1 minute of mindfulness so we can sit in complete silence and feel our breath. Just for 1 minute so we can see what that feels like to try not to think, but probably think. You know what I mean? Then there will be a Reiki experience. So you're going to receive the energy experience. That is my bread and butter and where the purpose embodiment comes from. It comes from the Ascended Master realm. It's got a shamanic vibe to it. And so this Reiki healing is kind of like the base level where I started, which you'll hear in my origin story. And then we'll just kind of wrap it up with a testimonial video. And I have a guest speaker that might be popping in to show a little bit, but I'm super excited you guys are here. So let's just dive in so we can get this show on the road. All right. So as you know, my name is Lynn Gravatt. Right now, I am making my living as, yes, a coach. I say a quantum energy coach. But that's just, you know, being fancy with words so that people will be attracted to what I do. I am a spiritual guide at the end of the day. That's the most basic way to put that. And then I call myself an embodiment specialist because I am a dancer, I am an aerialist. And so when this energy comes into me, there's this shamanic vibe. And that's what we're all going for, is to be embodied by our highest self. And there's many, many layers. We're in the third dimension. There's fourth, fifth, sixth. There's so many versions of you. And it's just about aligning your mind and a body, raising the vibration enough to let that in. Does that resonate with anyone? If you want to just give a thumbs up or put a yes in the chat, like, okay, I get that. I am me, but there is more to me, and I'm open to a process of what that might look like. So here I am now. I actually live in the Virgin Islands. I go to the beach most days. You know, I have the online stuff. I run an aerial studio where I work with kids, and I'm really enjoying my life. But it wasn't always this way. Back in 2008, as Manoush said, I was an aerospace engineer working for Boeing, and I had been a high achiever my whole life. So I had always been an A student. Of course, the only thing I ever wanted to do when I was young was dance. I ended up falling out of that because everyone told me I couldn't make a career. And so my second choice was astronaut. So I always got the A's, I always got the good grades. And when I got to college, though, I was still undecided and I wanted to go in education. So even though it was just wanting to be a teacher, I wanted to be the Jaime Escalante. You guys familiar with the movie Stand and Deliver? So Stand and Deliver is a guy who teaches calculus to a bunch of inner city kids over a summer, and he gets them all in advanced placement. And so I wanted to have this kind of impact on students. Like I wanted to show them that they could change the world. And I got into doing my education where you do the teaching, and I was like, oh, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. And that is when my spiritual awakening started happening. I was in my dorm room one day and I saw a view of Earth from space. And I had what I would call my first awakening. And yeah, I'll be honest, I was in college. I was very inebriated. And that's important because my consciousness was out of the picture. And I was open enough for spirits to come in from drinking these spirits. Luckily, they were very good spirits. They were my higher spirits. And so I saw the NASA channel from space and I was just like, that's it. I'm going to be an astronaut. And of course, all my friends thought I was completely nuts. But the next day, that drive was there. And before I knew it, I would apply to a different school for aerospace engineering. And this is where only in hindsight do I know that I was being guided by higher forces, because things happen so quickly. First thing I know, I get 100% on this relativity test in my third level physics class. And I'm offered a job at a observatory looking at binary stars. So I got to go out in the middle of the night and man a telescope. And that was when I saw the Pleiades for the first time. Then I got 100% on another test, and I got a 3-year internship with Honeywell. And then I got an internship with NASA, and another internship with NASA, and another internship with NASA. And then I get to grad school, and I'm still going to be an astronaut, but I'm still a little bit of a party girl, because deep down, there's a part of me that's not being fulfilled because I left that dancer behind, and I went for the academics, and I went for this very cerebral life. At this time, I weighed about 40 pounds more than I do now, so I wasn't working out. It was just school and party, school and party. And I realized I probably didn't have what it took to be an astronaut. Like, I just didn't think that astronauts partied the way I did. But I got offered a great job at Boeing in their R&D. So in Phantom Works, if you're familiar with Phantom Works, that's their high-level black box. And so I worked in their secret lab doing not secret things. I actually never got my clearance. I had to be, for a whole 5 years I worked there, I was escorted into the lab to work on my projects. It was every engineer's dream job. I was building the tech, designing the tech, like literally doing the machining myself, complete R&D, flying to put it in the wind tunnels. It was a dream job. I wasn't at a computer like most engineers, but I wasn't fulfilled. One day, about 4.5 years in, right at that cusp where you have to start taking on your own projects and really being a leader in the industry, I woke up one day and I just remember this day so clearly. It was a thought like, only 30 years till I can retire. And then there was another part of me that was able to witness me saying 30 more, like, you're not going to do that. You can't do that. You can't be this way for 30 years. And part of me knew it was only going to get harder. It was only going to get more challenging. I was only going to have more responsibility doing something that I was good at, but I didn't fulfill me in any way. So I ended up having a little chit chat with my boss and slowly started finding my purpose. I found a book called Awakening to Your Life's Purpose. And I was like, oh, that's what I need. I'll maybe become a photographer within Boeing, or I'll do something like that. And before I know it, it just started snowballing. Like when you're on a spiritual journey, you're on it your whole life. You signed up for this before you came in. And so there's a certain point in your life where you wake up. And for you guys, and maybe people watching the replay, today might be that day where you're realizing, like, I'm going to like go for something bigger than what I planned for myself. And when you have spirit on your side, when you have this higher self that you're starting to embody, it happens very easily. So I had an awakening where I had a very clear knowing that my purpose was dance and spirituality. And I'm an aerospace engineer at this time, and I haven't danced for years. So I don't know what this means, but slowly I started looking into spiritual things. I grew up a Catholic, but not a strict Catholic, like just Christmas and Easter. And I had to go to my weekly religion class, but like religion wasn't ingrained in me in any real negative way. It was just, whatever it is. And so I started learning about chakras, didn't know what they were, learned about Reiki, learned about auras, learned about all these things. And I remember it was a women's spiritual pursuit group on Meetup. And I remember the first time I'm there, we're all in a circle and we're like, oh, we're doing ohms. We're like going up the chakras. And I remember like feeling embarrassed, like glad, I work at Boeing and my friends are all Amazon and Microsoft people. So I remember thinking like, I'm so glad they're not in this room right now. And then also simultaneously, like, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be right now. So one day is the Reiki meetup and I received Reiki for the first time, and I didn't believe or not believe. I had no expectations. I didn't really feel anything. I was just kind of sitting there. But the next day, I was in a meeting with a bunch of high-level technical people that had flown in, PhDs, for a brainstorming kickoff session. And I saw their thoughts, or I sensed their thoughts moving across the room as energy. So one person would give an idea, and I could sense the enthusiasm and the positive energy behind that. And someone else would say, well, what about this? And sometimes I could sense their genuine curiosity, and other times I would sense their kind of like ego trying to poke a hole in the idea. And this was very amusing to me, because remember, I was feeling unfulfilled. And now all of a sudden I'm like sensing thoughts in a different way. And it was amusing. It was kind of exciting. And it inspired me to want to know more about this Reiki thing. Excuse me. So I ended up getting a level 2 Reiki initiation just to do it on myself. I really didn't tell any of my friends. I did it on myself and my dog. And I would go out my break at Boeing and I would sit in their little garden, and I would have one hand with little crystal on my heart and one on my womb area. And I would just sit for 10 minutes and just do Reiki on myself on my lunch break. Now, I didn't have an understanding of Reiki then as I do now, but I was raising my vibration. I was raising the frequency of my body on a cellular level. Simultaneously, this is all in Seattle, I started attending a Buddhist meditation center. The difference between Buddhism as a religion is one thing, but in a lot of cities, Buddhism is just mindfulness. It really is just going and sitting and meditating in silence and then leaving. And there might be a statue of Buddha there, but there isn't necessarily a lot of ritual and stuff. It's fairly secular. So I was getting into a lot of meditation. So my mind is clearing and then my body's raising, and things just started to happen. I left my job. I moved to Hawaii. I mean, it just snowballed. I could tell you all the things, and I am going to tell you all the things, but it was just, in hindsight, it was just, I was raising my vibration and I was being guided. I was just saying yes to more things. So over the course of the next 10 years, I guess, and at this point it's been 15, I've done 9 10-day Vipassanas, which are silent meditation retreats that are 10 days long. I did 3 enlightenment intensives. I did a whole bunch of sweat lodges. I went to Peru for 6 months, and I really started to embody this inner shaman. I ended up becoming a Reiki master. And when I got back from Peru, my last end in Peru is when I initiated my first people into Reiki. So I decided to take it from beyond just like doing Reiki on myself and other people to training other people how to do it on themselves. Because the world I want to live in, Reiki is a key code that is inside of everyone. And there's an initiation process that is really just magic. It's an intention where someone else who has said yes. It's kind of like I say a baptism, that it's the same kind of vibe, except you're saying, yes, I want to self-heal versus yes, I accept, whatever into my life through that. And of course, I had that done to me as a child. I was dumped, but now we're adults. So we're making a conscious choice to heal, which is very different than your parents making that choice for you. So I started initiating people, and it's really starting to pick up. And I'm moving all over the place and just really just following my spirit until about 2022. I'm in San Diego. And that's when I realized I wanted to step up and make this as a living. And that's when the purpose embodiment started to become a thing. And it really became clear when I had a friend who had had some serious abuse. She had been molested as a child and raped as an adult. And she had asked me if I could do a session on her. And I was like, oh, I think we need 3 sessions. We're going to do one to get you used to my energy. And then I have this method and I'm going to try it on you. And I'm going to do one with the molestation and one with the rape. So we did 3 sessions. And she was married, happily married, but the intimacy wasn't there. She wasn't able to connect in the level that she would have wanted to. She had flashbacks, nightmares, that kind of stuff. So we did these 3 sessions, and I get a message from her. She's like, Lynn, I just have to tell you, I was intimate with my husband for the first time since we finished, and it's gone. We were both crying. We could sense that something had changed. The intimacy was there. And so I was like, oh, okay, maybe I'm onto something here. And so it all continued, and the Purpose Embodiment Method is born. Now, the point of the origin story is to tie it back to you and how this relates to you. And I guess the point is you have more in you than you can imagine. Now, I'm not saying you're going to end up leaving your tech job and, going and becoming a spiritual healer or whatever, but transformation is transformation, and your purpose is coded in your DNA. So when you start doing the work to raise the vibration on a cellular level, to release all of these self-limiting beliefs that we have accumulated from our parents, our culture, all of that stuff, the grandness of your purpose can start to birth forth. So I'm hoping that for some of you, this is the birth of your journey into raising your vibration on a cellular level and a mental level, and that is through spirit. So we know there's a lot of mental work you can do without spirit, but the cellular stuff that I'm talking about, where it gets to be really magical and mystical, kind of involves a little spirit. So with that, I'm going to hop into the slides and we will get going. All right, so here we are. Embody your purpose, 3 steps for mindful living for long-term success. So what is reality? These are the 3 key components that we all just need to accept if we want to move forward in this higher realms. One is that your subconscious mind is responsible for 90% of our brain's processing power. So this means our thoughts, our actions, our fears, our phobias, our stress, our anxieties. Most of that is actually driven by our subconscious and things that have happened largely in our childhood, and even what happened to our parents. Before you came into the room, Natasha, Alan and I were talking about the refugees and about how their children are exhibiting the same types of symptoms that their parents are as a result of trauma. And that's because this stuff carries for 7 generations. There is a study with rats where they were given the scent of lavender. And at the scent of lavender, they were given a shock. And it took 7 generations for that fear of lavender to leave the system of the rats. So same for us. So we got to get into the subconscious to undo these self-limiting beliefs, because we are magical. We are fifth dimensional. We are beyond. Second is that our bodies, all of reality, this is where I get really excited. I'm like, this is science. 99% empty space. You remember science from fifth grade. You remember the atom is an electron, a neutron, and proton. And of every atom, most of it is empty space. A collections of atoms make a cell. A collection of cells make a body. So yes, we are perceiving our bodies as solid. We're perceiving everything. And that's where a good working knowledge of Buddhism comes in, that we are actually biological robots with these sense perceptions. And so it's only our sense perceptions that allow us to experience the solidity of this world. But that's why powerful monks that have done like lots of training can, you know, kind of go like this and not even touch the person, and they'll fly across the room. I have seen videos of people who can set paper on fire with their hands. I mean, the abilities that we have when we tap in, telekinesis. A couple generations from now, these children are going to be doing things that are going to make us, you know, our minds are going to be blown. So the world is energy. And then, yeah, only 0.001 of the world is actually physical matter. This is not woo-woo thing that I'm making up. This is like the way it is. So we just need to start living life the way it is. And then the last one is really simple. Spirit exists. So this is beyond any religion. This is beyond any belief system. I welcome all belief systems. I don't think any belief systems are wrong. I think all of them is a certain lens that you're looking through. And so all I want to do is invite people to see more lenses, to open their world. Like, it's completely possible that everyone has a piece of the puzzle. And then, of course, all of the religions have mud on the lens. And so what they are sharing oftentimes is a version of the truth that's filtered through a lens of fear. And so what we're trying to do is clear off the lens and allow our message to be in love. Super simple. So here we go. Body, mind, and spirit. I kind of, you know, part of having a business is like, what's the outcome? What are people going to get? So what I say, in the mind, we get mental wellness. In the body, we get alignment of purpose and profession. So I'm now an aerialist and I do this healing. So I get to dance and do what I want to do. The idea is like, everybody has different things. So you might love your job and you might not want to switch your job, or you might be unhappy with your job, but you start doing inner work and you find a hobby that is completely fulfilling for you. And all of a sudden you love your job more. And that person that you work with that just like triggers you and just doesn't see eye to eye, like leaves and someone else comes in. So alignment of purpose and profession, your purpose isn't necessarily your profession. Your purpose is just to be here. Your purpose is to radiate your light. Your purpose is to radiate hope. And if that happens to be your purpose or your profession, as it's turning out to be with me, that's great. But a lot of my clients, I'm finding it's not. They thought they wanted to leave their job, and then they do this inner work and they're like, oh, I actually like my job. It was something else. It was something inner. So you get that alignment of purpose and passion, and then spirit, authentic leadership. So, you know, I'm on LinkedIn today, and I was saying there was like a congressional hearing last week where they had a bunch of military, high-level military officials and NASA people talking about crash recovery of UFO and various things. And I'm connected with a whole bunch of space cadets on LinkedIn, like people that work for Space Force, couple Space Force commanders, SpaceX, NASA, and not one person mentioned it. And so there's a lot of fear around the truth. And so what spirit brings in is authentic leadership. It brings the courage to go to the front of the line, because a lot of people in this world are talking about innovation and they're only allowing themselves to be innovative within a very small box. And like, here's the box. I'm like out here. So I want to expand the view of what innovation can be. So as I said, 90% of what we think is unconscious. Has anyone seen this image before? Can I get a thumbs up if you've seen this whole idea? So our logical thinking, our critical thinking, everything that we think is important is 10%. And then in our subconscious, our beliefs, our emotions, our habits, and then way, way down, our intuition and our imagination. And so as we come and pull these layers off, this intuition and this imagination can come through, and we create space for new beliefs, like that we're not alone, that we are cosmic beings, that we have ancestors out there that are wanting to reunite and bring some technologies that can heal us when we're ready. So the step one is very simple. We transform our mind. We move from stress to mental clarity and wellness. And this is actually, to get deep, this is the end of the blame and shame cycle that we have all been embedded in. Now, as a spiritual guide, I like to stay very non-denominational, but I think it's like we have things in our collective like the Adam and Eve story. And so that whole story is basically the fall of man, and all of lack is pinned on one woman because she ate this apple. Now, and really it was more about unlocking the truth of all of existence, right? And so that was the start in our subconscious of the blame and shame cycle on the planet and this is like all of the three major religions, like, so we have Islam, Christianity, and Judaism all have the same creation story. So we have in our creation story at the base blame and shame. We're judging everyone all the time over the most mundane things, and then of course very, very big things as well. And so the key is to just let go of that. Just focus on ourselves. Let them love. Let them be where they are. And that starts with changing our beliefs and with mindfulness. So mindfulness is a practice of feeling. I met Manoush she was giving a talk, and they were talking about mindfulness in business. And from my point of view, they were speaking on mindfulness more from like a point of view of like mindfulness as awareness. Like mindfulness is seeing and knowing what's going on. From the most traditional point of view, from what would be called the Buddhist point of view, I guess, is that mindfulness is actually feeling. So I'm looking at something and I'm having an awareness of it, but the awareness is within. How is that creating a sensation in my body? What is that making me feel in my body? That's the awareness. And can I sit with it? Can I sit with it without having to look at another thing? Can I sit with it without having to scroll to the next thing? Can I sit with it without having to have a commentary on it? So that's the thing of mindfulness, because as we see, the world is getting crazier and crazier, and yet I'm getting happier and happier because I'm detaching myself from the struggles of the world and putting myself in a place to hold the light. And so to do this, it takes repetition. People don't meditate because they're like, I don't know how to meditate. Meditating's hard. I would rather run. I would rather do this. That's fine, but it's still having to be in action. It's not really sitting with yourself. So when you meditate, you want to know about these 10-day meditations, they are hard. It's like day 1, day 2, you're just going meal by meal because everything is coming up. Everything your mom said to you when you were young, everyone that ever wronged you. It's just when you create space to meditate, you don't actually meditate. Everything comes up and your job is to not react to it. So yes, there are people that have transcendental experiences of euphoria when they meditate, and that can happen on a 10-day meditation. People definitely have those experiences. But most people that meditate, especially when you're just starting, it is a challenge. Mindfulness is a practice. And so repetition is a key. Okay, so we're just going to be mindful for 1 minute. I have my iPad right here. I'm going to stop the share so I can be in gallery with you guys. Boom. So we're going to just sit for 1 minute. Now, the practice of Vipassana is really simple. You start, eventually you're scanning your whole body, but you're picking a sensation on your body. It might just be usually the feeling of the breath coming in and out of the nose. So the feeling of the breath on the nose or around the upper lip, depending on how you breathe, that might be hard you can also sense the rising and falling of your chest. But it's really about trying not to think about anything and just feel what your body's doing. Now, you might be really surprised at all the thoughts that come up in this 1 minute. Like, oh, the garbage is, I got to take the garbage out or whatever. This is the herding of the puppies. The minute you sit down, the puppies just want, the thoughts just want to come, and we got to keep pulling them back, pulling them back. So, we're going to start as a minute, but if this is new to you, the best thing you can do is start a 5-minute mindfulness practice. Can I just sit for 5 minutes and really try not to think? And over time, you will find yourself thinking less. So let's do that and see how it goes. My little password in. All right, ready? We're just going to sit for 1 minute. Here we go. I'm pushing start. And that is 1 minute. The timer won't stop. Would anyone like to share what that was like? Well, I try to get this timer to stop. There we go. Yes. Just go ahead and unmute.
Hi, so I can
Hi.
share a little bit. Yeah, I usually have problem with meditation by myself. So yeah, I know it's great. I know it's wonderful, but I have problems, starting by myself. And but I love guided meditations, and I have recently started doing yoga again, and it helps, but then again I have a problem doing that by myself. But this minute passed really fast, and I did not feel any anxiety or nor any thoughts. I just breathed, and the sound of my breathing somehow reminded me of the ocean and the waves, that come and go, and that was it. And it was amazing. I don't know why, but I really need someone to, be there while I meditate. And then it's fine.
That is so beautiful what Nastya said. By the way, hi Nastya. I love her energy, and whenever she is at any kind of webinar, she really brings that, added value, whatever size it is. But I love her energy every time, and I think everyone who's doing first time the meditation, right? You'll confirm it. It's first time or first years or first months. It's always like that. And Alan also wanted to say something. I think he also wanted to share his experience.
Thank you. I started well in the first part of the minute, but then I drifted to it's just saying how grateful I am for things around me, and how much love I have around me, and how much more I can contribute to that. And then I floated into something at work. So,
It
oh well,
happens.
yes.
For me,
Thank
the
you.
minute seemed long, because I'm holding the space. It seemed like a really long minute to me. So
Really?
I'm glad that you got all that done. And well, because, I'm like trying to care for everyone too, like worried about if people, so I wasn't really having thoughts, but I was like, oh, this is kind of a long minute. And it's like, the Vipassas, they're all day from like 4 a.m. to 9 p.m., but they're in hour chunks. And so usually the first 30 minutes is okay. By 45 minutes, you are just done. And it's that last 15 minutes is just like reeling it in. So a lot of times, if you're just getting started, you might be experiencing that like condensed in your 1 minute, 2 minute.
Sue is with
So
us.
that is amazing. Oh, I'm so glad you're here, Sue. She's going to be our guest speaker in the spirit part. But for now, we just did a little 1-minute mindfulness thing, and we're going to hop into the next portion, which is going to be on the body. And Natasha, you're in for a treat because most of what I do now is guided meditations. Because the energy work I do, my straight up mindfulness is kind of old school. I mean, it's important for our personal growth, but the transformation that you can get with guided meditations and with active meditations can sometimes happen more rapidly. So you're definitely not alone in needing guidance. And so, that's why you're here. It's perfect. So back into the slides, share, spotlight myself just because I never know how it's going to look. Boom. Okay, so we did our little share of how was your meditation experience, and it was good for people. So that makes me happy. Okay, so what is reality? The reality is that everything is 99% empty space. And so I just popped in the slides, but I'm actually going to pop out of the slides because I have a little 3-minute clip from a movie on Amazon that's called The Healing Field. There we go. Here it is. Pop it open. And it just talks a little bit about the science of energy healing and how this energy healing, when you do it on a stem cell, you still get that transformation. So this is beyond the placebo effect. This is beyond thought. This is actually happening on a scientific level. We're seeing a transformation of cells in a petri dish. So I'm going to share this quick little video and then I'll pop in and share a little bit more of my words of wisdom on this. So again, this is on Amazon. It's called The Healing Field. And I'm not sure how old this movie is, but this woman has the same name as me.
A number of scientists around the world have been looking at studying energy healers to try to isolate what that energy is that they send. And with increase in electrical energy, there's a surge in voltage. There's also a surge of magnetic energy. And there's a huge surge in these biophoton emissions, the current of light coming from the body, particularly from a healer's dominant hand. Now, we're not talking about ordinary energy because we know that healing can occur over vast distances. So probably what's going on here is much more complicated. There's probably some sort of quantum effect, which doesn't require any kind of distance. That can be the same effect over any kind of distance. Or it may be a combination of all of the above.
I've done numerous studies since about 1978 on energy healing. And one of the systems that I've studied are cell cultures in the laboratory. And I found beneficial effects repeatedly on cells in the lab, especially cells that needed healing, that had been damaged by antibiotics or temperature shocks. When healers placed their hands on the cultures or nearby, or even in distant healing cases, the cells recovered faster than the control cultures that were not treated by them. And that's a remarkable effect because it shows that the power of energy healing goes beyond the biology of belief or a placebo effect. The fact that cell cultures can respond means that the cells in our bodies are also responding to energy healing, not just our minds, but it's working at all the levels of our beings.
The received wisdom in Orthodox medicine is that energy healing has no evidence and doesn't work. Nothing could be further from the truth. There are at least 150 excellent scientific studies of energy healing. And these are those gold standard randomized double-blind type studies that are used in science. And they demonstrate a very robust effect.
For me, and for most of the modalities that I have studied, which is about 200 different modalities, most healers start with setting an intention for the highest good of the client. A client does not have to believe in what is happening. All he or she has to do is express a willingness. The healer is like a garden hose, and the energy flows through the healer to the client.
Oh my goodness, isn't that amazing? Does anyone want to say anything about what they just saw? We can keep going on, or if anyone wants to share an insight or a thought on that, I would love it. I love some interaction here. So it's totally up to you guys. If you want to just unmute and say something, what you got? Alan.
Yeah, I guess I can. I've backpacked. I've lived in 10 countries, backpacked through over 80 countries. So I like to walk and talk, meet people. And I always felt as I got older that I could feel the energy and the rhythm of places, and especially the rhythm of cities. And I would have to adjust because I was just moving there, or starting to live there. But besides the energy of people, there is a kind of maybe a rhythm. And I wanted to ask what you all think of that, a rhythm to places.
Yeah, I mean, one of the healings that I have is you can cut cords with a city. So, I mean, in my world, everything has a life. Mother Earth is a living being, literally, with their own consciousness. And so each city might be a child, or however you want to look at it. But for sure, cities have vibes, 100%. And I think as we move forward, we're going to see more people maybe leaving cities for quieter, because especially it's not just the city, it's all the people in the city. And so if you're an empath, which I can totally tell that you are, and maybe you've had an awareness of it, but people that are empaths that don't have awareness of it, they're not only just sensing the energy, but they're picking it up and feeling like it's theirs. So especially in our cultures, the cities, there's a lot more drinking, there's a lot more drugs, there's a lot more, lower vibrational activities happening. And so that's why in nature, one of the things that I did over the 15 years of my searching was I spent a lot of time in national parks. I had like a van / Subaru. I had a little twin mattress, and I would go away for a week at a time and just be in nature, more or less off the grid. I did glamping, so I'd pack a big cooler with all my food. And it's really important to, especially if you want to vibrate at a higher level, you have to pull yourself out of those environments. That's why I live on the Virgin Islands. Honestly, like I know what my purpose is, and I know I can serve better when I protect my energy and put myself in a little bit more of a quieter. And that's, if nothing else, that's the benefit of what the pandemic did, is it showed a lot of people that they can be remote. It kind of opened up possibilities for people to start dreaming a little bit bigger about where they want to live, who they want to be around, and what they want to do. So thank you for sharing that. And yes, 100%. And it really ties into what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about nature as being part of the body, because we are one of Mother Earth's children. So just like you talked about the trauma of the children being passed down from the mother, we are a product of, the trauma that Mother Earth experiences. So thank you for bringing that wisdom. Did anyone else want to say anything?
If I
About
can
that clip?
jump in quickly.
Yeah.
Go on, Nastia. I'm here every day, so we can
No,
chat.
I want to hear what you have to say, because you haven't seen that clip. I'm always running behind, and so I've never
No,
played that clip before.
No, and actually, I wanted to say also to everyone, we've been chatting together already for so many times, and every time you are different, but not you are different, but you are bringing something different. And I love absolutely this. And I'm saying about the content and the information. And this time I heard as if from the beginning everything again, and I even have the presentation. So I'm thankful for that experience. And for the cities, absolutely yes. That's why we say we love the city. We don't love the city. It's mainly because of the vibe, right? But I want to go back to the video and comment actually on the receiving part, when she says that the patient actually doesn't have to do anything. They just have to receive. I want to focus on the word receiving and connected with the topic of the cities. I think that we as humans, humanity in our current living times, we are concentrated so much, especially the business world, so much on the giving part than receiving. And actually when we receive, that's why I think we receive the wrong things. And going back to your mindfulness and awareness, comment, I think that's why if we are aware enough and are living in the mindful way, we will be receiving the right stuff, because we're not, ready for that, the right energies, the right, purposes and so on. we receive what comes in because obviously we are made for receiving and giving, but because we're not prepared for receiving the right stuff, that's why we're only receiving the wrong stuff. I'll stop here.
Yeah, no, and that's perfect. I haven't mentioned the energy of masculine, feminine, and inner child yet, but the mind I associate with the masculine, the feminine I associate with the body, and that is the receptive nature that we are missing. Like I don't have to, I'm so happy we have one male in the room, but we don't have to like beat around the bush that the feminine is not valued on the planet, not just in our culture, but really on any, I mean, I'm sure there's some where it still are, but the feminine vibe of being receptive, of being nurturing, these things don't pay the bills. You know what I mean? It's like, and that's why we're so off balance. That's why this process, it doesn't matter if you're a male or a female. Like Alan, you have wonderful feminine energy. You are but you're masculine. Do you know what I mean? So having feminine energy is not the same as being effeminate. And so a truly well-balanced, and you can see that I carry my own masculine energy in a way. So a truly balanced person is holding both of these energies. And unfortunately, most people, male and female, are being ruled by their masculine energy and they're not able to receive. And it goes back to the blame and shame cycle. Deep down, we don't feel worthy of receiving because humans are, the whole program of humans being, ruining everything for everything or whatever. So yeah. Thank you for your shares. Okay, let's move on really quickly then. Go back to the slide, share, embody your purpose. Boom. Okay, so we got this, what is reality? So this is the slide that I added 2 weeks ago about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Because what I'm finding in the tech world is everyone's like, oh, I'm good. Because we are hanging out in the self-esteem part. We're at the green. So we've had our psychological needs met. We feel safe. We're not aware of the subconscious. So we're only looking at what's conscious and we're confident. We have achievements. We have the respect of others. And we might even feel, well, everyone's trying to be unique. That's why everyone's like creativity, innovation, la, la, la. And so the next step is to break through to self-actualization. Very few people have met that. I feel like I'm on the way. People like Einstein, people that have had truly positive impact. I can't even say that Jeff Bezos is self-actualized because a lot of his employees aren't really happy with the way they are treated. There's a lot going on in Amazon that is not feminine. It's not caring. It's not nurturing. It's still very active and create. So part of that is also redefining our definition of what it means to be successful and self-actualized. So the people that I'm trying to peel for, I want to acknowledge that you are very high up on this triangle. And I'm inviting you as the leaders of the planet to do the hard work of pushing through to the next level, because we don't just get to self-actualization. It takes effort and time and intention and basically devotion to your highest self. So for me, I had no choice, right? I started doing this Reiki on myself and all of a sudden everything's just changing. And what keeps us stuck in working that same job is this fight or flight response. So I also, in my normal life, grew up hearing things from my dad, don't cry or I'll give you something to cry about. I was spanked. I was a kid of the 80s. And so I had a very strong fight or flight response because in my although I didn't experience big T trauma, I experienced enough that I wasn't able to fully express myself. And so this is part of the process that I've gone through to release this fight or flight response and this frustration, always wanting things to be different than they are, always going for the next thing. And so there's 3 keys to that. One is the earth wisdom, which we already talked about, so I don't need to go into that, but Mother Earth has so much healing for our body. Go out. Okay, you guys got homework. Right after we're done with this, depending on where you live, because I know it's becoming winter, we got to get outside in bare feet. There's another movie on Amazon about grounding. and how the inflammation in the body will just go down when the feet are put bare onto the earth. So going barefoot into the earth, and then as woo-woo as it sounds, because people joke about it all the time, hugging a tree, right? Getting your chest right up in that tree and making a physical body connection with nature really can change your energy. Movement. So I'm a dancer. I also do fire spinning and aerial, and the fire spinning is rooted in Kung Fu. So an aggressive movement practice. Natasha mentioned yoga. Alan mentioned yoga. I used to do yoga. Now I do circus instead. The switching, the stretches, a lot of it is very, very similar. And now I've just taken flight and I'm flying in the sky. So I do yoga for my warm up before I hop in the apparatus and spin around like an angel or a fairy, whatever you want to call it. And then the last is the energy medicine, which we are going to experience in just a moment. But I just want to show you what this transformation can look like. Who is that girl? That is that girl. Her name is Lynn. Right before I was going, yes, this was right after grad school. Or no, this is right after undergrad. This is right before grad school. And this is what I looked like. It's like, I can't even believe it's the same person. And it's not just the weight, it's the whole essence. And so this is like, I would have thought that was my natural weight. That was like who I was. I never would have thought that this person was in here. And so when you start doing, like, especially, I do want to appeal to people's vanity that carry extra weight, because a lot of that is the trauma. It literally is the lower vibrational energy in the cells is just stuck in the body. Because my lifestyle changed, like I'm plant-based now, I don't drink, but it was never like I need to quit doing that stuff. It was just naturally, as my vibration rose, I didn't want those things. My higher self wanted to make different choices. And so if you're ready to make different choices, you are in the right spot, because we're about to have another meditation experience. We're running a little bit behind, Sue. I hope that's okay, but I think you're going to love this meditation, and then we're going to put you on right after. Okay, so this is going to tap into both the earth part and the energy part. This will be a guided meditation. It will be 1 minute per chakra, but before I start the actual Reiki, so you're going to be receiving energy healing during this if I have your permission. And so all you have to do is think, yes, I'd like to receive. And you'll never get more than your highest self is the middleman. I'm a channel. I don't get in your energy field. I'm not trying to do anything. I am sending you higher vibrational energy that is perfectly attuned to your highest self and how it mixes with you. Some of you might feel nothing. Some of you might go on some magic carpet ride, have lots of visuals. It really depends on what your jam is. And then before that, though, that will just be 7 minutes. Before that, we're going to have an opening of the circle. So I have mentioned being kind of more of a shaman, more of a ceremonialist. So I like to call in the 4 directions and Mother Earth and Father Sky, which includes God, Source, whatever we want to call it, as a way to, it takes this is the intention. This is my prayer. And this makes the work even more powerful. And so the calling in might take 5 to 7 minutes, and that's the same amount as the Reiki portion. So the whole point is both are equally important. I feel like my work is so much more powerful because I take the time to call in the energies of all that we're about to call in. So with that, I can't tell if I'm in gallery or pin, but I'm going to put it in speaker and just pin myself for this part. Spotlight. Okay. Actually, maybe I want to have you guys on, I don't know. No, I'll just keep it me. Okay, so this is a whole bunch of pretty things. I'll just do a little teaching, I guess. So we have sage for cleansing, lavender for beauty. This is based on, I've studied with a lot of different lineages, but primarily Hopi and other lineages aligned with Hopi that predate Hopi, actually go back to when we were Turtle Island. So in North America, we're more North and South America were connected. We have, typically they use cedar for community, but I have juniper because I spent a lot of time in Sedona with those spiral trees, and they gave me permission to go up late at night and take some of their bristles. So I put those in here. And then we have some lemongrass for ceremony. Because, hey, raise your hand if you're into like 1111, 222, like if you see sacred numbers popping up, if that catches your eye. So it's 1122 today. And so, you know, maybe that doesn't mean anything to you, but for me, that's the first sign that you're having an awakening before anything else. You're going to start looking at the clock every day at, you know, I have 2 clocks in my car that are on the wrong time. And after my aerial class on Sunday mornings, one of them, they sync up. One says 3:33 and one says 4:44 at the same time. And it just is so amusing to me. You know, like the spirit speaks in different ways. And this is a free will zone. So when I'm saying spirit, I'm also referring to higher dimensional beings that are not quite God, you know, but have wisdom and have intention. And this is like a no interference. Earth is a free will zone. That's why there's so much bad stuff going on, because we don't I mean, I am a channel of sorts. There's a non-intervention clause if you're truly following the universal laws. And a lot of these dark energies have just found ways. There's loopholes, right? There's loopholes around. You can find ways through. They use technology indirectly, right? Media and other technologies to interfere. And so I can't remember why I said that, but anyway, let's go. Sometimes I hear people can even smell the sage. Great spirits of the north, entrance to the mental realm and the element of air. Please be present here as I use my voice to clear the minds, to open the minds of all of the lovely people listening. We invite in the animal kingdom, the four-leggeds, the creepy crawlers, the swimmers, and the winged ones to be present. Please allow us to have your beauty, your love, all of your loyalty that the animal kingdom brings us. We're so grateful. Thank you. Great spirits of the east, entrance to the spiritual realm and the element of fire. Here we're rising like a phoenix from the ashes into a new way of life, and guiding us is the human kingdom. Here we have all the races of all the colors. I choose the traditional Native Americans separate into 4 colors, and I choose not to delineate anymore. We are a rainbow of people together, of all races here, and all the ancestors are here wanting this new way to be birthed, and it is being birthed. We are the dream of our ancestors. So thank you for the East, and of course, I invite all of your ancestors to be here right now, and they are. Great spirits of the South, entrance to the spiritual realm and the element, or the emotional realm and the element of water. Here we're learning to go with the flow, to be with the flow. And for a lot of us, let emotion flow. A lot of people on this earth have a real hard time crying, especially letting anyone see them cry. And I was that way for a long time too. And now it turns out I'm totally a crier, and like, it's my stress relief. So I might be talking and something emotional come up and some tears will come for just like a second or two. And I allow myself to have that discomfort, allow people to possibly judge me, and then I can move through and I can keep going and more wisdom comes through. So I bless you with the ability to let any emotions that need to flow, flow. That is the gift of vulnerability. And here we invite in the plant kingdom, the trees, the shrubs, the grasses, the flowers, and of course our medicine plants. We invite you, we're so grateful for your beauty, your oxygen, your shelter, your food. The way that the plants enhance our life, is so endless, and I'm so grateful. So thank you, South. Great spirits of the West, entrance to the physical realm and the element of earth. Here we're learning about rooting, about grounding, and the density of this planet. Oh my gosh, it's so heavy here. I don't know, we haven't talked about star seeds, but if you start to identify it as a star seed, it's like this earth is hard for us because we're wired. We come from places where it's much more loving. And so the most loving people on the planet here are actually kind of judgmental. And so this earth, these crystals, the rocks, the gems, the sands, and the crystals. Can I get a thumbs up if you like your crystals? Anyone? Yes. So these crystals have gone through millions of years of evolution under intense pressure, fire, heat, all of that stuff to emerge at the surface as these beautiful refractors of light. And that's like the human soul. The human soul is going through a lot of evolution. And you that are in the room right now and watching this in the replay, you are at the leading edge. And, you know, we're about to break free and shine, and it's so exciting. So thank you to the rocks, gems, sands. And then we have our mixed metals and ores. And we're so grateful for them because without the computers, without the mics, without the music, without all the stuff that's coming into this is what's allowing global healing are these mixed metals and ores, which are tech. And, you know, the crystals are in the tech. You guys in the tech world, you know that deep down in these microchips, the main components are crystals. So it's crazy. Thank you, West. Mother Earth, Pachamama Gaia, we're so grateful to have you here with us today, to be with you, to connect with you. And everybody has promised to go outside and just connect a little bit deeper with you. And we're here to ride your wave. Mother Earth is ascending. That's why we're seeing a lot of crazy weather patterns. We're seeing a lot of displacement. This is her uprooting, her going to the fifth dimension, and we're just kind of riding her coattails. So thank you so much, Mother Earth, for letting us ride this wave with you. And you know, we're gonna see in the next couple decades, like planet Earth really is the place to be. Despite what I said, you know, just 2 minutes ago about it being very dense and difficult, I am also extremely hopeful of where it's going. We are ascending, and I know that doesn't mean anything to a lot of people yet, but it's super exciting. So cheers to us. Thank you, Mother Earth. Father Sky, Star Nation, Star Beings, all of the ancestors of anyone present, all of the spirit guides of anyone present, the angels, the angelic realm, the ascended master realm, all the way up to source, God, creator, whatever word you like to use, because when you really start to tap into it, it's actually like unexplainable and there are no words. So with that, thank you all for being here. And we're going to imagine a red laser shooting out of your root chakra all the way down to the center of the earth. Connecting with the center of the earth, you're going to feel this ruby red energy coming up the root chakra and filling your body. And at the same time, you're going to see a golden laser shooting out the top of your head all the way to your soul star. And we're going to start a little Reiki. Your root chakra, just outside your body, in between your legs. Imagining a red pool of light, bringing groundedness, stability. And so first, we're going to clear any energy in your body. You don't have to think about it. Your cells are responding to my voice, clearing up any old generational energies that aren't serving you, clearing up any fight or flight imprints, and send that all the way down the feet, out the legs. We're sending all that doesn't serve us to the center of the earth for Mother Earth to transform. And now feel incoming that root chakra, a beautiful red pool of light attuned perfectly to your body, bringing that feeling of groundedness, safety, and security as we move up to our second chakra. An orange just below your belly button, about 2 inches below your belly button. This is your power center. This is the hara in martial arts. Of course, this is the sexual center for both of us, both men and women. And so, you know, a lot in tech, we talk about gender bias and all that stuff. And so this heals all that. But I always like to just focus on, for this time, just creating your own personal power, to be bold, to start looking into things you haven't looked into. So circle up anything keeping you from being powerful and creative. It's our creative center. Send that down the legs, out the feet. And now incoming this orange energy that is perfectly balanced with your masculine and feminine energy. It's powerful. It's soft and kind too. As we move up to the third chakra. about 2 inches above the belly button. This is your solar plexus, a golden light attuned to your highest self. This is confidence. This is worth, self-worth. And this is where you start to say, I'm worthy of calling myself divine. I'm an ascending master. I say that because that is who I am. That is what Christ said. Christ was because he said he was. And so we want to circle up anything that's keeping you from identifying yourself as divine and send that down the legs, out the feet. And incoming is that golden energy with the confidence to be your highest self. And if you don't know what that is yet, yeah, you don't, because I didn't know either. And that's the journey. It takes the confidence and the worthiness to go through the process to know that person. As we move up to our heart chakra, a beautiful green light. See that the first love that we miss out is the self-love. Somebody said, I believe it was Manoush, how we're always trying to serve. We want to make impact. We want to give. And so first comes the self-love. Circling up anything in your body that's keeping from any actions that are going to bring you the absolute most healthiness, happiness, and freedom. Send that down the leg and out the feet. Feel that beautiful energy. And maybe it is, you feel it's this of the divine mother in you. Feel that light coming through every cell of your body, expanding every cell of your body. Moving up to the throat chakra, expressing ourselves. So it's one thing to know you're divine. It's another thing to get on LinkedIn and start talking about it. So this is the throat chakra, circling up anything that's not serving your highest good. And this is in your personal life too. I talk more about the business side of things, but inner work transforms relationships at the end of the day. So circling up anything that might be keeping you from fully expressing yourself, send it out the feet. Because remember, we're going for authentic leadership and true authentic. There is no separation. Everyone knows everything. We're telepathic. Now feel that beautiful light blue light coming in the throat, allowing you to express yourself. And then moving up to the third eye, your indigo blue light. Clearing the mind, bringing forth for intuition. That's the main thing, right? I mean, yeah, you can go on mystical experiences and connect with higher dimensional beings, but really you just need to connect with your highest self. Instead of always thinking about what you're going to do next, just allowing the knowing to come. So circling up any lack of clarity of actions you need to take in life to get where you want to be, send that down the leg. Now feel that indigo blue light coming in the third eye. And this is where some people can really feel a buzz. That's kind of the first sensation to turn on, is that third eye. Feel that third eye expanding out, expanding your worldview into the fifth dimension as we move up to the crown chakra. Imagining this violet light of transmutation coming in the top of the crown. And what's the opposite of faith and hope is doubt. So any doubt that you have a higher purpose, any worry, circle that up. And send that down the legs, out the feet. And now putting on that beautiful white light coming in, filling up your whole body with this beautiful violet light. Feeling that expanding, bringing in hope, bringing in faith for a better tomorrow, a better future for everyone. Now feel that white light coming down from the 8th chakra all the way down your body, clearing out the 3rd eye, bringing in that light blue self-expression, down to the heart, that green self-love and love of the Divine Mother, and of course, the love of the Divine Father. Down to the 3rd chakra, the yellow, confidence and self-worth. To the 2nd chakra, the power, the balance of energies, the creativity. And finally, down to the root chakra, that red groundedness and stability. You're going to see those energies, that rainbow energy shooting out your feet, circling around all the way to the top of your head, creating your auric field. And in that auric field is all of your qualities that we have maintained today. And in your own natural time, taking however long you need, I invite you to come back. Those of you that went off camera, if you want to come back on camera. And some people need a little bit longer to get back into their body, so there's never any rush. Some people go really deep, can go really deep in 10 minutes. Some people, especially in a public place, maybe they aren't able to get there. I would love to hear shares, but we're short on time, so I'm going to save that for after. And I want to just move right on to the spirit and let you just sit with whatever came up, and anything you want to share after, I would love to hear. But next we go into spirit. And so spirit is about authentic leadership, and spirit is about community. And I'm getting a little emotional, and that's okay, because this last 15 years, I have been lacking community. I've been moving here and there and there and there, and it's really hard for an ex-aerospace engineer who was on So You Think You Can Dance to mix with a lot of the people that I was meeting in my spiritual communities, because they have significantly more trauma. They had a different sense of purpose. I've been a lone wolf. And I went from working primarily with people that had trauma to owning my full self. Like, I have this whole tech background. I need to be working with tech people, because you guys are the people, and the founders and the scientists, you guys are the people transforming the planet. And so having the tech people aligned is going to help everyone magnitudes more. And then, of course, it brings me a sense of fulfillment. It allows me to be seen in the fullness of who I am. And so what I'm now trying to create is community that is built on entrepreneurs, tech people who have a spiritual calling, who feel this calling to bring this higher vibrational into their work, into the planet. And of course, this is health, wealth, and relationships. So we're talking more about quote unquote wealth and business, but this type of stuff is about relationships. And so I met the lovely Sue Pat in a networking event, and she kind of inspired these, even though Manoush has come on to be like my wing woman. Sue was one of the people that kind of inspired me to start doing these master classes, because I used to have them. They were called Ground Your Goddess, Find Your Freedom. It was just like kind of the same type of talk, but a little bit different. So Sue has been generous and kind enough to come on, and she's been an entrepreneur. I will let you introduce how you want to introduce yourself, but she has been an entrepreneur for a very long time. And she's also been a spiritual seeker for a long time. And so she has a good understanding of how to balance these worlds. And so I asked her to come in and just give a little 10-minute talk about whatever's on your heart and mind regarding spirit, community, whatever comes up. We actually didn't get together much to prepare, because I wanted her to just bring herself, knowing the topics that I discussed. So I'm going to go ahead and spotlight you, Sue, and I'd love you to share anything that you want to share with us.
Thank you. I really appreciate being over here. I respect your time, and I'm not going to talk for 10 minutes, because I know this is supposed to end at 10:30. So I will let you free at 10:30. But I want to tell you that I am the living testimonial of all the principles she mentioned here in the masterclass. I was totally bedridden. I couldn't move. And I was being told to go through spinal surgery. I refused to do that. And because I just didn't want any human being to touch my spine. If one mistake, and then I would have been bedridden whole life. And I practiced all the principles what she mentioned here in the master class. And at the end of the year, I was totally recovered. And now I have a thriving business, online business. And I might be giving business strategies in my memberships and my various offers, but there is a major strong pillar where it mentions about all the affirmations and meditations and energy healing, whatever Lynn mentioned here in the masterclass. So I'm the living testimonial. Really means doctors had given up on my life, but I didn't give up on my life, and I followed the energy healing, and that's why I'm over here. And now I can talk to you. And now my next goal is to go for the Everest base camp, and I know I can do that. And it's only because all the principles she mentioned over here. And people might be thinking, oh, I don't have time for energy healing, I don't have time for meditations. No, remember the story always. There were two woodcutters. One woodcutter never took any break. He never refreshed. He never sharpened his axe. He never did. He just kept on working, working, working. And the other woodcutter, he took breaks. He did everything, whatever was needed to refresh and rejuvenate and basically elevate his life and business. And at the end of the day, he had more wood cut than the other person who never took break, and he just kept on working, working, working. So these things are really needed. This is a work life balance. And I want to end up telling one thing: you can trade everything except the sick bed. Everybody knows Steve Jobs, but how many people have read Steve Jobs' last write up? It was full of regrets. He said that people think that I'm very successful, but he said I didn't even follow my hobbies, I didn't have friends, I never had time for myself. And you just go ahead and read it. And as a entrepreneur, as a solopreneur, I really don't want you to have that kind of write up. Your last write up shouldn't be like that. And if you followed whatever principles Lynn mentioned over here, I'm pretty sure your life will be fulfilled in every possible ways and in every possible areas. Thank you. That is what I just wanted to tell you, and God bless you.
Oh, that was so perfect. And and I do want to add one thing about Steve Jobs, because this is one of my main posts that I circle every couple months, that at his funeral, what he handed out was a box. And in that box was a bunch of copies of Autobiography of a Yogi. So he was trying to, as his last gift, say, don't be like me, find your bliss, find your light, all of that stuff. So as she said, we are going a little bit over. Does anyone in the room need to get out? Can I have another 15 minutes of your time? Is that okay? If you do need to leave, you're welcome to do so, but I just kind of want to, we start a little late, and this is the balance of the masculine and feminine, because time is not real. Time is a construct, Now, granted, I have bread that I ordered that I'm supposed to pick up at 3, but it's like, we're in a temporal bubble right now, and we're sharing energy, and I don't want a clock to matter. So if one of you has to pop off, I completely understand, but I want to continue and talk about really quickly community. And then I do have one testimonial I'd like to show. That was like, I wasn't expecting, because we haven't actually worked together, which is kind of cool, but I didn't know that you were a living testimony, that you were almost bedridden. So that's amazing. And so what I'd like to do is just play another 3-minute video of a compilation of a bunch of testimonials of clients that I've worked with. So you can just get a kind of a feel of the types of changes, because they're not all work. There's people having shifts in their family, all different ways. I don't know if you've seen this one before yet. Like she said, everyone's a little different. Sometimes people show up for live testimonials, sometimes not. So this one is my standard pre-recorded testimonial that I, edited a couple months ago, and I have some more clips and test clients that I could add at some point in time, but I just haven't yet. So with that, this is just 3 minutes here, 3:34 of.
Super simple question. How did you help? I mean, how did you not help is probably a better question. I knew that I was the struggle, but I couldn't figure out how to do it myself.
So I didn't know the beauty that would come out of learning how to release those, that feeling of calm and connectedness inside the body, because I'm a head-based person. By feeling, I mean the sensory experience, not just the emotive experience. I feel more calm and centered when I'm faced with the challenging dynamic.
And start to let myself become more free and accepting of myself through the program.
I began to see relationships with my children changing and evolving. I started noticing that those one-word answers were turning into sentences and then pretty soon conversations. And so this was a very authentic process or a holistic process, I guess, that just, I think, really opened up space for my children to come in and be their authentic selves, because I was in a different space while I was working with Lynn.
Being able to set boundaries in my romantic relationships, that's something where I'm really seeing a difference.
Blessings have come in ways that I would have never expected.
I was not totally in alignment with myself. I'm just feeling so much more like myself and excited about what the possibilities are for me, feeling more connected to spirit and just getting more of a sense of alignment with my purpose in a more specific way than I had been before.
I just feel like, having worked with you for the 4 months, the shifts were subtle, and then all of a sudden you realize, okay, wow, things have changed. Just the way that I react differently, how I feel a lot more calm, how I'm able to shift my energy more effectively. Just
really bringing me back to me. It's really the reminder to take that moment and just sink in for yourself. All these other people, everything I do is serving other people. But what am I doing for me? And this time out has really brought me back to that, so that I can come back to those things charged, ready to serve at a greater place.
I left every session with feeling like a whole new person.
What it's really going to do is pave the way not only for the future of our relationships, but as Lynn and I were talking earlier, as well as for my grandchildren. My grandchildren will potentially be able to have different relationships with their parents, as well as a different relationship with myself, because of this work.
Using a glitchy old computer, sometimes you need to upgrade the hardware, and sometimes you need to upgrade the software, and sometimes you need to upgrade a little bit of both. So I love that you were kind of my guide to be upgrading my software, getting rid of the old glitchy software, and installing new and better software.
What Lynn does is really it's following a particular structure and sequence, but it is exactly channeled for you and where you're at and what you've gone through, what you need. So I highly recommend.
Oh, I didn't know that part was.
I haven't
All right.
this one. It was exciting.
All the good things people have to say about me. Yay! So yeah, I love all the clients. Like I said, it's not me. I'm a channel for something greater than me. And so I never know what's going to happen with people. I'm very non-attached to their outcomes. I'm very the neutral thing. And I think a lot of times other people are also very surprised with where this work takes them. So just to wrap this up quickly, boom. So our last step is the spirit. We talked a little bit about this, that it is about community, and it is about connection, and then ultimately having authentic leadership. And so when you're stepping in the world, it's the mystical world, the spiritual world, the shamanic world, whatever you want to call it, you have to just be curious. You have to be open. And that's when the magic starts to happen. And a lot of people are afraid to get in this work on this subconscious level, because a lot of the authentic leaders, and I always used, Christ as an example, just because to me, he was a human who had embodied a certain level of perfection more than, you know, the way other people put him on a pedestal. But that was authentic leadership. And it didn't turn out very well for him, did it? So the idea is we have the witch trials for the women. So we have a lot of experiences in our subconscious about it not being safe to shine in this way and to experience magic. But I'm here to tell you that it is our time to shine. And so when we have that community, we have that that curiosity, there is space for magic to come in. So we did our testimonial. We know about this, our outcomes. So the work that I do is about 5D energy work. It's about changing our beliefs, and it's about creating connection with like-minded people, because we really do need, you know, it's taken me 15 years since I left my job, and it was because I did it alone. You know, I mean, I had a lot of teachers, but what I invested was time, you know, and it was an adventure. It was a wild, wild adventure, but it wasn't easy. And so I kind of like to save people a little bit of the trouble. And so, of course, the outcomes that I offer are mental health, aligned purpose, and authentic leadership. And then this is my 3 Ps: power, passion, and purpose. So you're going to get more power. We all deserve more power over our mind, more passion for our body. You know, sometimes passion gets kind of a bad rap. And for me, when I'm spinning in that aerial, or when I'm fire spinning, or even when I do this, I think you can see like the passion within me. And we all need to have that. We all need to have that fire in what we're doing. And so many people are doing a job that is giving them recognition, it's giving them maybe money, but is that passion there? And that's what I realized when I was an engineer, that the passion wasn't there. And then finally, the purpose. And for me, the purpose is spiritual in nature. It's about unity. It's about connecting with your I am presence, with what I like to call the divine mother, and then of course the creator, God, whatever you want to call it. And this brings forth authentic leadership. Now, what that doesn't mean that you're at work talking about your spiritual things or talking about your chakras or your crystals. It means that you show up as I am. You just show up in your light. Nobody has to know what you do, how you set your space, how the practices that you do. It's not really about that, right? Being on purpose is just about being, quite simply. So this is the call to action. You know, there's always been different call to actions. You know, I used to have the purpose clarity call. If you think this is for you, book a purpose clarity call. And I just realized I can't play these games. I'm not a salesperson. Yes, I have an amazing program, but I really just want to create connections at the end of the day. And this has been my journey out of my fight or flight, right? Out of my need, like I have to get a new client, I have to get a client. No, I don't. This is pure gold, and the people are going to come when the people come, and I'm living in the Virgin Islands and my life's great. And so what I want to do is just the opportunity to connect with everyone and find out what is the nature of this connection. You know, is there collaboration? Like, I really hope there's a collaboration with you, Alan. I'm super excited about what you're doing. Is this just like a connection? Maybe I have a podcast. Oh, I want to pull up this quick, because I have these words. So it's called the Be on Purpose podcast. And now I'm actually not doing the podcast as much because I don't like editing a podcast. That's not my zone of genius. So until I have someone to hire to do that, I want to do more like 10, 15-minute lives with people where I talk about the PCs in the industry: power, compassion; passion, creativity; purpose, consciousness; and then playfulness and curiosity. So these are just key words I want to have conversations about with all different people. So maybe there is a connection if you want to do a live with me and talk about some of these words that these PCs that I just talked about. And then finally, maybe some of you are destined to be a client at some point in time. Maybe now, maybe 5 years from now. I have so many different things. The Purpose Embodiment Method is this academy that's a 6-month thing, but I also have just a Reiki initiation, like what I got when I was still up growing. This is like a $150 thing, because I want you to be able to do Reiki on yourself if you want, without any barrier to any sort of financial thing. And then I also am working on like a 2-month thing as like an entry level thing. So I have lots of different offerings. No pressure. It's really just about, at this point, connecting and getting to know you guys better. So there's a QR code you can scan at any point in time. The calendar is just my standard calendar. You know, in the business world, they're like, okay, now you're going to have your calendar only open for 3 days after the event and only like 5 or 6 spots. And I just can't play that game anymore, you guys. It's like, that's my networking calendar. It's 5 days a week, whatever it is. Like, so book a call with me and let's just connect and see where we are going with this, because at the end of the day, I am trying to create abundance for myself, as we all are, body, mind, and spirit. And you may have heard the saying, your network is your net worth. And so worth is not just about money. That's what I want people to understand, that there is value in community. There is value in healing, and there is value in the feminine way of life. And for people that are in this investor world, I mean, healing is a $6 trillion business that is like, it's evaluated, but like, I don't feel like a lot of people are actually doing it yet. So like, you are on the leading edge being in this room. I'm in the leading edge being in this room. And so let's just see what we can do, you know, to help skyrocket people's personal potential and quantum leap their careers. So with that, that is the end of my presentation. I am so grateful for all of you. I want to go to gallery and unpin myself. I'm so grateful to every one of you for staying for the whole thing, even though we ran a little bit over. And either we'll do one of the two things. I'll put on a song and we can dance out. Or if anyone wants to come on and share, say anything, I'd love to hear some final words, what your favorite part of the day was, or any feedback, anything you want to share. And I'm recording this part, so this will go out in the replay. So anything you'd like to add to this, and then I'll put on a little exit song and go pick up my bread.
It was wonderful to have meditation and to praise like the East and the West. That was really beautiful. And thank you for taking us on that journey.
Thank you. That's the primarily what I do. Like my sessions are that, and then they're an hour long. So we kind of get together, we talk about what we're going to be working on, and then it's an hour of that type of deep work. And the biggest program has extraction, soul retrievals. You know, those words might not mean anything right now, but that is what I do. That was a mini thing. So I'm glad that you like that, because that's my main thing. Awesome.
I wanted to add that I really see myself in you because I cannot do hard sell. And I really felt the genuineness and authenticity. You were so true to you, and you were not really faking anything, even at the end, even in your closing. And the genuineness and authenticity means I totally appreciate. Thank you. That's the best part, and it is really lost in the crowd, and you are bringing it back, and that I really appreciate. Thank you.
I appreciate that feedback. And it's a journey I've been on, because I spent many tens of thousands of dollars on business coaching, and it's not getting me where, because it's gotten me here. It's amazing. I've gotten the value of it 100%, but I need to take it to the next level, because those strategies are masculine strategies and the planet is changing. And so those strategies aren't going to work for a lot of people anymore, because I see it all over. People are craving authenticity. Well, then I have to be authentic. We need to be in our zone of genius. And I don't have a team to do all the things that need to be done to make me a good business person. And that's not my zone of genius. So I've just kind of let go and just trust. I mean, this is the process of really trusting source, trusting the universe, that you will have the abundance, the finances, the clients, the people, everything you need will be given to you in divine timing when we let go and be who we are. And so, you know, and I'm more authentic in these masterclass. Not really. This is my zone of genius. So it's perfect that you said that, but it is new to me to kind of just let the ending go and just let you guys know, like, that, yeah, I have a thing, but like, that's not what this is about. You know what I mean? And it was before. And me needing it is what made people not want it. You know what I mean? And so now I'm like I'm getting it. So thank you for that. Anyone else want to pop in and say anything?
It was great. Thank you. I love the key words for me were authentic and And I love the Alan's view of the cities and the vibration and the rhythm. It made me aware that I feel like the same thing. Sometimes the space is just amazing, and I like being there. So that's from my side, and I love the 1 minute meditation. And yeah, a lot of things that were shared. Thank you.
Awesome. You know, I just need to add one thing quick. Oh my goodness. So speaking of Zone of Genius, I just invested in another coach, a retreat planning coach. So there is going to be a retreat here in the Virgin Islands that is going to involve nature. It's going to involve body, like moving, healing, and then it's going to involve spirit. We're going to go to different parts of the island and do meditation and crystal bowl healings and that kind of stuff. So keep your eyes out for that, because the Virgin, I moved here for the energy of this land, and also getting us all together in one place physically and doing this kind of work is even more. It's, as we saw in the video, the remote is real, but when we are connecting with the land, it is tenfold. So maybe I'll see you guys at a retreat. You're going to see more of it. In fact, in the next week, you might get a survey in your inbox asking for information, but I had to take the opportunity to throw that out there, that's where my zone of genius is. And so that's where I'm going to start putting a lot of my energy. So thank you, both of you, for reiterating that for me, that this is what people want. They want to remove themselves from their environment. They want to get offline and have experiential experiences with people in sacred places. And we're going to do it. All right, Manoush, do you want to say any closing words?
I wanted to thank you for your generosity. I cannot imagine how much energy you just have for giving, but also for receiving. Thank you so much for being the star dust, I say, and starlight and everything, starting with stars. And thank you everyone for coming and bringing more people. I mean, you can share also the videos when Lynn shares, right? You're going to share
Yeah,
some.
I'm going to send you guys a replay. And I mean, I'm going to get emotional again. I need help. You know, getting this stuff out there, especially me, like I'm like this Mohawk girl with tattoos. It's like, everyone's got their own judgments and they got their own worldview, and they can look at my resume, but that was 15 years ago or whatever. And so this is about the community. So yeah, if we're not connected on LinkedIn, we definitely should be. I'm sure we are. But feel free to comment and like and share, or just in like little tidbits. Some of my content might feel a little not ready for your audience yet, but maybe some is. And that is your invitation to start being authentic and to bring step by step in a way that feels comfortable for you things out into the public realm, so that everyone knows it, because everybody's experiencing this. Everybody is having a spiritual awakening. I use this background because the solar flares that are happening right now for the next 2 years are peak maximum. And this is the Son of God, right? This energy coming into the planet is the Christ consciousness that is going to create the second coming, which is us. It's coming within us as a big old force. And so you guys are definitely a part of it. So thank you for being here. I can't wait to meet you in person. I feel like I will at some point in time, especially you, Manusha. We've gotten this like our 4th one together, and I love you. I can't wait to actually meet you.
Yeah, I love you back. I mean, I already invited you to Italy and everyone else. And we didn't present myself in the beginning. Just a small note that I come from the business world, and I just saw Lynn and her energy. I just wanted to, be around, I would say, because I have gone my own way of spiritual awakening and transformation. And this is amazing of what she's doing. And I just want to, be helpful of spreading the energy around. So
And
see you.
also what she's doing, you're creating a community though, out like I don't know if a retreat center is the right word, but it's still
Yes.
coming to be, but you're part of this. We're all going to
Yes,
go to Italy.
please do, and that's why I'm going to connect with all of these beautiful people in the future. Also with Alan, what he's doing is beautiful, and all the others. I mean, reach out. Let's do everything together. Let's bring everything we have, and I'm sure we are going to complement each other instead of competing.
All right. And anyone watching the replay, your consciousness, we're talking to you too. You're not in the room, but I'm going to have another one in probably 2 weeks. And so I invite you to get in the room. So when you guys get the replay, send it out. Just like, hey, I was at this masterclass. I don't know if this is going to be your thing, but she's kind of a kooky chick. You might like her. Let's go. Yeah. All right. Many blessings to you guys. I love you. I'm so excited to meet you again because I'm sure we've connected in past lives before. And so let's see where we're going. It's going to be an exciting ride. All right. Bye, guys. Mwah. I'm just going to
Bye.
close it out. I love you. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.